We got Lawrence Okolie taking on Krzysztof Glowacki for the vacant WBO Cruiserweight World title this weekend. Definitely looking forward to this one. Now, originally, Lawrence Okolie's first world title tilt was going to be against Denis Lebedev. And that's a fight which I thought Okolie would probably win. I was quite confident in that because even though Okolie is inexperienced, he's only 15-0 at the moment, Lebedev had definitely seen better days. He had one foot out the door anyway in terms of retirement. So I felt like it was the right time for Lawrence Okolie to get him. With Krzysztof Glowacki, he's no spring chicken himself. He's been in some tough fights. He's been stopped. He's been beaten by Breidis and Usyk. But he's definitely got more gas left in the tank than Denis Lebedev had, as far as I'm concerned anyway. So I see this as a bit more dangerous for Lawrence Okolie than the Lebedev fight because I think Glowacki has more left in the tank. But I still favor Lawrence Okolie in this fight. And let me tell you why. First of all, I think people underestimate how big a deal Lawrence Okolie's physical strength is. You know, people talk about him being tall and having a big right hand. But if you look at those fights he's had in the past against the Isaac Chamberlains and who's the other guy he fought that was trained by Paddy Fitzpatrick? I forget his name now. In fact, let me go back. The guy trained by Fitzpatrick. Watkins. There you go. Luke Watkins, Matty Askin, Wadi Camacho, all these guys, and Garbu. It was Okolie's physical strength that those guys struggled to deal with as much as his height, reach, his skill, and so on. And his punching power, of course. His physical strength is tremendous at the weight. He can smother guys. He can manhandle guys on the inside. And that's tiring because Okolie regularly spars big heavyweights, big 250, 60, 70-pound men, or at least did do, a few years ago. I'm not sure about now under Shane McGuigan. But also, speaking of Shane McGuigan, I've seen a lot of improvements under Shane McGuigan the brief time he's been with him. I've noticed more poise, not clinching quite as much. His technique is just coming together. So I think he has enough to beat Krzysztof Glowacki. Also, Lawrence Okolie has been active more recently than Glowacki. So he fought in October 2019. Then he fought just over a year later in December of 2020. Glowacki, on the other hand, he hasn't fought since June of 2019. So that's a very long time to be out the ring for Krzysztof Glowacki. There's surely going to be ring rust there. So I'm taking Lawrence Okolie to win this fight. I think that Krzysztof Glowacki, perhaps his best chance is going to be to try and get through the early rounds without taking too much punishment. And I do think that Lawrence Okolie definitely has the power to hurt this guy and to put this guy away. And I do think he's got the physical strength to make it difficult for Glowacki as well. And remember, this fight is going to be in the UK, so perhaps the officials will let Lawrence Okolie get away with some rough tactics. We'll see. But I think the things are swinging in Lawrence Okolie's favor here. But as I say, Glowacki, if he's going to win the fight, it will have to be, I would imagine, mid to late rounds to try and get a stoppage, or maybe win on points if he can take Lawrence Okolie into deep waters and drown him in the second half of the fight. But I wouldn't be surprised if Lawrence Okolie managed to get the stoppage here. I don't want to say crazy early, but, maybe mid-round stoppage or something. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. But then again, I also wouldn't be surprised if Glowacki's a bit too wily to get caught clean and Lawrence Okolie just has to fight a fight which he's been criticized for fighting many times in the past, which is kind of messy and awkward and what have you, using his physical strength a lot, tying up a lot, frustrating the opponent, landing big shots at long range. I wouldn't be surprised if he fights that kind of fight and maybe wins on points as well. But he's definitely got the power to hurt this guy, to knock this guy out. It's just whether Glowacki is savvy enough, and he's a savvy guy, but whether he's savvy enough to overcome those moments. And he's dangerous. I'm not at all writing off Glowacki's chances here. He does have an opportunity to win, but I'd probably make it I want to say 60-40 at least in Lawrence Okolie's favor. So definitely looking forward to it. Again, Glowacki's got massively more experience. He's 31-2, 19 KOs. Lawrence Okolie's just 15-0. Glowacki has fought way better opposition than Lawrence Okolie has. But there comes a time in every fighter's career where they have to go from fighting nobodies to somebodies. Everybody has to cross that Rubicon. And just because someone's got more experience than you and they've fought at a higher level, it doesn't mean that you can't cross that Rubicon and beat these guys. So, yeah, let's see how Lawrence Okolie does here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Who are you picking to win and by what method? And in fact, before I end this video, this might be of concern to some people. Lawrence Okolie has been talking about who he could face after beating Glowacki. And some people are going to say, hey, that's overconfidence. That's where he's going to slip up by overlooking Glowacki. Because he's talking about fighting Breedis, Gula Marianne, I'm sure I butchered that name, Makabu, and so on. These are the names that Okolie's been talking about. So some people are going to say that's not good, shouldn't be overlooking. That's usually when disaster strikes. So again, let me know what you guys think in the comments below.